Hello, my lovely justice warriors. How are you guys tonight? I am so happy to be here, even though starting out, I seem to be flying solo. That's all right. I got my notes. I can get started. I have a lot to talk with you guys about. It looked like not that many people saw my community post that I put up last night. So, no, I wasn't hallucinating. Annie Ruler, check it out. Did you see my community post from last night? Holy kaboli. Scammies, mommy and daddy have almost 34 billion, gazillion, billion dollars of government contracts from 2020 until 2030. Is that crazy? So Shan uncovered that on Friday night in her live in the last 30 minutes of a 2.5 hour live. And I was like a train wreck because of the crap with Baldwin and Helena Hutchins trial. I was just like, had to scrape myself up off the bottom of the barrel. And then I was also kind of falling asleep. So I was trying to pay attention because I was so happy that Shan was on a live. And I was like, what with that information? So I mentioned it in my live the day before yesterday, and I was like asking you guys, I was like, was I hallucinating or was that a thing? Like billions of dollars, like not just a few billion, 34, or okay, I'm exaggerating, 33.48. Yeah, $33.48 billion of government contracts for the little tiny Sierra Nevada investigation firm in Truckee. So then I had to look up, well, how many billions is Dr. Z worth? Like Dr. Evil, you know who I'm talking about, the Z Man, the one who was boots on the ground looking for Kylie. He's only worth 178 billion, is what it said when I Googled it today. In my opinion. So let's see. Let me do my little disclaimer. Thanks for reminding me, Annie. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of starting a conversation, hoping to open up a discussion. It's just me and you, Annie. I love it. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. I was so depressed after the judge dismissed the Helena Hutchins involuntary manslaughter case against Alec Baldwin on Friday evening that I like seriously was like, man, I should just give up trying to seek justice. I should just give up this channel because like what's the freaking point? And I know that there's a lot of people who will disagree with me and say, "Oh no, she made the decision that she had to make." Okay, first of all, it's a decision. So people can use their discretion intelligently. One of the double speaks that drives me nuts in that trial and in that portion of the case is that they were calling this friend, this Troy dude, friend of Thal Reed's, the Good Samaritan. I wouldn't call him a Good Samaritan. They say that he used to be a cop. Well, I know a lot of people who used to be cops who I wouldn't, uh, recommend for any job. So I wouldn't recommend them as friends. I wouldn't recommend them as humans. Okay. Just saying. Just because somebody used to be a cop, it doesn't mean that they practice ethically in their lifestyle. And it was also said that he used to be a judge. Like, that's weird. He used to be a cop and he used to be a judge. Because first I heard he used to be a lawyer and he used to be a judge. Okay, those two things go more hand in hand. But it sounds to me like people are just trying to give the bad Samaritan clout. Or I was even going to read you guys the definition of Samaritan because I wouldn't call him good or Samaritan. I would probably call him a menace and a thug. That's just me. Me and my humble opinion. The AB case was not about if they have live bullets. It was that AB didn't look after Dave Halls took cold gun from Hannah. Which guy slid live? Oh, Annie, I love how on top of it you are. And yeah, I agree with you 100%. And yeah, Hannah wasn't even in the church. So initially, Alex swore up and down that Hannah was the one who handed him the gun because she was the only one who was supposed to hand him the weapon. So I think that Dave Halls agreed to that lie as well on day one. Like they were like, yeah, Hannah handed him the gun. It's like, no, Hannah wasn't in the building. She had maybe loaded it, allegedly, maybe handed it to Dave Halls, or it was just laying around, which it's also not supposed to. So who knows if she did anything to it? I mean, these people are all freaking liars. Wait, Sandra said, I'm here too, just a bit slow at texting. Hey, Fred. Oh, look at us. We got 4. We have a room full. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And how is your week going? It's a Wednesday midweek. So I was going to look up Samaritan. I mean, we all know what a Samaritan is, but I just thought it would be an interesting and I was going to see what J.R. Nana Boomer, woohoo, caught you live. And you guys, J.R. Nana Boomer has had her own channel for a while. I think you're a her. It's okay either way. And she just did a really good Kylie video recently. Really good. Really, really, really sharp. Thank you for that. So, Samaritan just means a native of Samaria. Okay, a person who is generous in helping those in distress. So, if you're a Samaritan, you're either from Samaria or you're a person that's generous helping those in distress. So, saying Good Samaritan is actually redundant. Like, I'm glad I looked this up because you're not going to have a bad Samaritan. I mean, I guess you could have somebody bad who's an inhabitant of Samaria, right? But you're not going to have a bad, generous person that helps those in distress because by definition, that's not bad. So anyway, I think it's crazy that they call this guy a Good Samaritan. It's a lot like calling the freaking fires of Lahaina wildfires when they haven't even been investigated yet to know if they were electrical fires or wildfires or arson, right? Okay, I get so fired up. Wait, did he wait for her to hand it to him, or did he get impatient and just help himself? Very good question, Sandra. So, if you want to get all technical about the whole thing being thrown out by the judge, I could say that there's a good argument for her dismissing the case, but without prejudice so that it can be retried. For her to dismiss it with prejudice was overly aggressive. 100%, especially because this man that's a friend of Hannah's dad who brought this ammo in like the day of her trial or something. I mean, it was a day late and $1 short. And to me, he sounds like a nut. They tried to follow up with him and he never followed up. He just like drops off this box of ammo and says, checkmate or check. And then it turns into checkmate because the judge decides that she feels like it. And then that whole thing with that other lawyer coming onto this case at the beginning of the trial with her opening statements and then quitting that day and saying, oh, I'm too good for this. This is just a bunch of baloney. It's like, yeah, the whole thing was a freaking kangaroo court. And we can thank Judge Mary Marlowe, whatever her last name was, Mary Marlowe something or another. I have it written down in my book, I'm sure. Anyway, she was running a kangaroo court and she was really sharp and severe with Hannah. And she was just sharp and severe, period, with the whole thing against Alec Baldwin. Like she didn't want to be there. Like she was just hateful. And like I had said in my last live, we have to remember how they didn't even want to try him to begin with. And then they pressed charges and then they dismissed charges last year and then they refiled them. So we're lucky we got 3 days of trial, really, because he's not a bazillionaire, but he is worth 60 or 70 million dollars. I mean, not to me, but according to Google. And you know how Suze Orman says, money first, then power, then things. Wait, no. People first, then money, then things. You know Suze Orman, she's like the financial guru. People first or money first? Power? Where's power fit into her thing? She's wrong. No, it's people first, and then money, and then things. So you could even call power a thing, in my opinion. And she's good at her work. She knows her stuff. She's been doing that for a long, long time. She's helped a lot of people with their budgeting and retirement and such. Thank you. Let's see. No notification. 20 confirmed tornadoes here Monday night. The high school 2 miles from me lost parts of its roof and some campus trees. I am so sorry, Fred. What a stressful situation. I do not like when there's tornadoes in my hood. Not at all. What is JR Nana's channel name? And JR Nana says it's JR Nana Boomer. So yeah, it's been around for a while. And then Annie Ruler, if you want to put the name of your channel again, Grandma's Traveling Again. Is that what it is? Yes, I do sit down, Jazz. Let me have a moment. Yes, me too. Me too. I know I've been so fired up. So I didn't get to come on live yesterday. The last 3 days, I've been really good going for bike rides with my kids, like 5-mile bike rides. So that's been nice. And then, it's summer and I'm just trying to hang out with my children. And I know I don't need excuses for you guys, but I don't like missing a day of not having a live. And there's just so much to talk about, but I did need to just kind of think about it all for a minute too, because it just boggles my mind. And, and I do want to like double check, dotting my I's and crossing my T's and making sure that I'm not just being like blind and oblivious, in my opinion, about the trial. I think she had a good argument for dismissing it, possibly, but I think that dismissing it with prejudice was insane. And I don't even think she needed to dismiss it. I think rather than looking at the stuff with her own hands in the blue gloves, I think she should have stayed in her lane and done some of this in private. She didn't need to do it in public on television. She kicked the jury out. It could have been done in chambers. The whole thing was just a freaking circus. It was just a show as far as I'm concerned. It was like, oh, look, well, we tried to charge him. And then, Carrie Morrissey messed it all up, her and the other folks in the PD. When it's like, no, they did not. They responded to an old man dropping off a random box of ammunition appropriately, in my humble opinion. And yeah, I just keep thinking of Troy McCoy, you guys. That guy, Thal Reed's friend, Troy, just trying to do his buddy a solid. But remember Troy McCoy from the Watts case, and he was the one who met up with Watts on Friday before the Monday when the familicide happened. He met up with Watts in a Safeway parking lot because Chris wanted to show him his Fire Stick. Like, that sounds a little dirty right there. We'll just stop, right? I mean, okay, I have Roku. I understand. But you don't need to show anybody your freaking hot stick. Give me a break. Also, Troy McCoy was one of the first people out there at the site after the familicide and the disposal. So he was there Monday morning at like 7:30-ish. And then he went back out there the next day on Tuesday when he was instructed by law enforcement not to go out there. And then he was busted and they were like, dude, why'd you go out there? And he was like, oh, just cause, I knew I shouldn't, but curiosity. It's like, no, dude, you went out there to like look for the rake and hide some other evidence. Troy McCoy, if you don't know that name from the Watts case, it's a ridiculous name. And yeah, it's real, allegedly. So, hi, Annie. I'll be right back. Family is leaving to airport. Oh, JR Nana. I have a brand new goofy channel of funny travels. Oh, Nanny Annie is traveling again. Annie, Granny Nanny. I love it. I love it that that's the name. Sorry, I had it wrong. Sweaty blonde karaoke is me. You never get kids, youth, and time back. Good for you. They will remember forever. Well, and it's also good exercise. I mean, you guys know I've been doing my yoga religiously, but I need a little bit more than just the yoga. And, I don't swim anymore, and I really loved swimming. And I also used to walk a lot. And the thing I like more about biking than walking is you kind of get that breeze when you're on your bike. And it's been so hot here, even when it's been cooling down, it's still really humid. Good evening, Nico Mingo. Hello, hello. JR Nana Boomer's back. Oh, Granny Annie is traveling again is my channel name. My son's 6th birthday has 502 videos. Are you kidding me? Your son's 6th or I don't know if that was a typo or not. Oh, 6th birthday has that many views. Okay, 500 views. Very cool. And Nico, if you wouldn't mind putting the link, if you can get Annie Ruler's link for the Oh Granny Annie is traveling again, and also the link for JR Nana Boomer, that would be so much appreciated. Hello, dang it, Nancy. Lovely to see you. Hey, Jazz, happened to check again, and I was unsubscribed. Seems to happen when you're live. Weird. I guess maybe people are threatened by me. I don't know. I don't like to, toot my own horn. And maybe it's just a glitch, right? Annie Ruler says 6 baby videos have 502 views. That's awesome. 6th baby video. Okay. Your son's 6th baby video. Gotcha. And yes, please make sure you're still subscribed and share my channel with your friends and family. Turn on your notification bell to ring. And also an important one that I often forget to don't remember to ask or remind is making a comment. Like the chat comments are great. I love reading them and making them part of the show. And the comments in the comment section afterwards are also not only very thought-provoking and fabulous, but it's also good for the algorithm. So, and it's even better for the algorithm if you make a comment and I respond to your comment, which I do always try to respond. So, and not just because it's good for my algorithm, but just because I'm happy that you made a comment and I want to let you know that I'm happy that you made a comment, aside from just liking it and putting the heart on it so that you know that I read it. So yeah, is this Troy guy really a Samaritan, or is he interfering with an investigation? Because that's my thought, is that he was throwing a monkey wrench. He was trying to throw like a tire trap under their car. He was trying to take out the prosecution, and it was like a half-baked attempt, but the judge made it fly. Like, screw her and the horse she rode in on. I really hope that Carrie Morrissey sues her. I really hope that Carrie Morrissey files a formal grievance against her. You know, a lawsuit is a formal complaint. So that's how you file a formal complaint against somebody, is by suing them. That's what it is. It's a complaint. It's a legal complaint. But also within the judicial system, you can file a grievance. And, you know, a lot of judges have been taken off the bench for all kinds of stuff. I mean, negligence, malfeasance, harassment, you name it. But just like other high positions of authority and power, it's not that common. I mean, it's more common that these people get away with this crap, unfortunately, which is why we're here. It's why we talk about it. It's why I have my channel. It's why I felt compelled to start my channel. It's why I feel compelled to continue my channel. So which video, Annie? Nico says the 6th baby video. The one with 502 views. How about that? Because yeah, Annie's channel is small, and J. Arnana's channel is small too, but she's had hers for what, 10 or 14 years? Let's see. Oh, Granny Annie traveling again, and sweaty blonde karaoke. And sweaty blonde karaoke. Just Oh, Granny Annie. It's like a tongue twister. Oh, Granny Annie is traveling again. I want to say, oh, Granny Annie Nanny, but if you see the karaoke, I am thinner one in orange, humid, bad hair day. Well, that's like me every day, man. Like the screen, it's the hair shows up really weird on screen. You know, a lot of things show up weird on screen. You know, it flattens you out. Sometimes it makes your nose look really big. Sometimes it makes your shoulders look hunchback. You know, like all I have to do is like turn sideways, and then I look like, you know, Igor from Young Frankenstein, like what hump? Yeah, the screens do weird things, and the angles do weird things too. So, we gotta cut some slack, and I do have my hats nearby in case of a bad hair emergency. But anyway, let's get on with the notes here. So I wanted to talk about all of these cases again, the ones that I'm kind of focused on right now: Kylie, Micah, Taylor, and Helena. So, you know, I've had it with all that court crap. I've just had it. And all we can hope for is that Carrie Morrissey files a lawsuit and files a formal grievance, because we all know what's happening now. And I even saw something right as I was coming on live, and I've seen some of the videos of the douchebag defense attorneys that are trying to appeal Hannah's case. Like, just because some old dude drops off a box of ammo, no, that doesn't undo people's responsibility. Give me an effing break. And like I said, screw that judge and the horse she rode in on. Maybe that's why you got unsubbed, because you're not supposed to defy authority like that, right? But no, I've seen judges do terrible things. There was Judge Hightower in Seattle. There was Judge Bobby Bridge, that was a female that was arrested for drunk driving, hit and run. She was evil. She was vile. And she even built her platform on women's and children's issues. And she was as misogynistic as anybody could possibly be. But that was her platform, women's and children's issues. But then she goes crashing into a car in her neighborhood when there's people and kids out and about, and she's driving drunk. She smashes into a crash car, and then she tried to keep going. And the people that were there that witnessed it, like, blocked her in and called 911 and made her stay until she got arrested. And then, you know, she did the thing that you're supposed to do, which is just to say, oh, wow, yeah, I have a drinking problem, and I'm so glad that somebody brought it to my attention so that I can get treatment. There, done. You can't argue with that. That's why people are so stupid when they just keep trying to deny. It's like all you have to do is say, yep, I have a problem. Glad it's being addressed. And you're done with it. Nobody can hold that against you, even though they can, especially if you're insincere. And I'd say most of the time when people do that, they're insincere, unfortunately, because, yeah, it'd be nice if people really had that attitude. Okay, let's see. Thank you, Nico Mingo. Thank you. That's Annie's video. Awesome. So, hopping over to the Micah Miller case, that Flow channel, that TikTok channel that did the 2-hour interview with JP, and no, I'm not going to pay $2.60 or whatever to see it because I really don't freaking care. JP's a joke. Everything he says is a freaking pack of lies. I think it can be helpful to listen to what the packs of lies that he puts out there so that you can tear them apart. But man, I am not going to give him a penny. I'm not going to put a penny in a place where I know he might get to it. So I ain't going to do it. It ain't going to happen. If it was free, I'd watch it. But I just, on a moral principle, I'm not putting a couple dollars where JP can get his grubby little paws on it, because that man is a thief and a grifter, if I've ever seen one. So some of the things he said in this interview, because I have watched other people's videos that have seen the interview with Flo from TikTok, and then they've been discussing it on their channels, of course. So JP volunteers to answer the question of what he was trying to get out of the apartment that Micah was staying at a couple of days after she passed away, when he called the police and he was trying to manipulate them, like, oh, I'm just trying to get into my wife's apartment because she just died, and her belongings, always me, and her roommate just hates me because she's just a crabby old biatch. I mean, that's almost what he says. Not really, but you get the idea. Anyway, the cops were great. They actually didn't let him in, which is funny because it seems like he's got them in his back pocket. But yeah, they're not going to just always fly in the face of breaking laws and putting their badges and their careers at risk for some entitled jerk like him. They're going to do the right thing sometimes, hopefully all the time or most of the time. But he didn't get in. He didn't get her stuff, but he was trying to show his argument of why he was going in there, because we all know why he wanted to get in there was to see if there was any evidence that he needed to destroy or take or hide or whatever, right? All the information that she was turning over to the authorities. But no, he's like, oh, I just wanted to get the necklace that she has of a tiny naked picture of me in her little necklace. I just wanted to get that. Dude, are you sure it's of you and not just of your member? He's such a freaking perv. He just can't stop. And he's just constantly with the trashing her and talking about how crazy she was. And I'm sorry, but if your loved one has a mental illness, you don't trash them, especially if they're deceased. But no, you don't trash your loved one. If you love your loved one, you support them and you encourage them. And you don't go putting their dirty laundry out on the streets of YouTube. And if anything that he had to say had any real bearing in reality, don't you think he'd be going on an interview on 48 Hours or 2020 or Dateline, not on like Flo's freaking TikTok? Give me an effing break, dude. He's the worst. I mean, he's the worst of the worst. And I'm just really curious to see what happens. You guys are probably well aware of the people that he had violated in the intimate way in the past that have now filed formal charges against him. And I believe that these were people that were underage when he assaulted them. So they've filed formal charges, and Robbie Harvey's been talking about it, so other channels have been talking about it too. So I figure that most of you guys are following Micah Miller's case and are probably already well aware of that. Video went dark. My video? Maybe was it just like some of the ads rolling or something? I'm sorry, Annie. He sounds like my battalion chief ex. Yeah. I went out with a jerk when I was a teenager. We were engaged. We stayed together for too many years. It wasn't really a relationship. I sometimes call it the unrelationship, but I've had my share of narcissists too, for sure. Nico, my son's was a short, probably. Why? Oh, the video went dark. I thought you meant my video. Okay, you meant Annie Rulers. Okay, gotcha. Thanks, Annie. So now she knows where to find it. My favorite video on my channel is cute little girl, fake scream. I'm not screaming, bloody red rum, annoying 2-year-old, not quite 2 then. She's 14 now. I wasn't allowed to post videos of them. Right, of course, I know. I try to be very discreet with any photos of my family or anything. I was actually going to post a photo of me and the girls on one of our bike rides. But I'd like to share that stuff. But yeah, we do need to be very careful. And since I'm the parent, I can make that decision as long as everybody in the family is comfortable with it. But yeah, you definitely want to leave that up to the discretion of the parent, for sure. Hey, Sherry, lovely to see you. On news just now, Biden has COVID. Oh, he's under the weather in a lot of ways, and it's unfortunate. I mean, he's really up there in the years, and he's having a rough time. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, I just try to stay out of the political nightmare because, man, hasn't it been a political nightmare the last few days? Out of control, out of control. No, not resolved yet. Nico Mingo says, Julia, my granddaughter, the J and JR Nana, she wanted to be on YouTube so bad. That's so adorable. Well, yeah, and some people let their kids have their own social media. I would be very concerned about that. But I know people who do it. So, no, your current live video right now is black screen. Oh, weird, Nico. Oh, so weird. Is it like that for anyone else? How bizarre. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So, let's see. The Flow interview. I was listening to this channel that was like brand new to me right before I came on live. And I was going to write down the name of it so I could share it with you guys, but I'll put it in the description, of course. And she was mentioning like how when JP drops or goes in that really high pitched voice, when his voice starts cracking like he's a pubescent teenage boy, that really high pitch, she said that's his liar voice. And I thought that was so astute. Like, yeah, most liars have their tell. And I mean, I'd say for JP, he's one of those like scammy. If his lips are moving, he's lying, right? But yeah, let's talk about Kylie Rodney, because her case, we're coming up on 2 years in what, 2.5 weeks, just shy of 3 weeks. And I side with Mr. Mark and other people who believe that something happened very well before August 6th, because Ninja's been doing an amazing job putting out all these videos of all the pressers in the early days, and watching them now, it's almost like a joke. just the way that they're talking, all of the claims that they're making, of all the resources that they're putting in, and all the gobs and gobs of tips and information and videos and photographs that they have that never materialized. Oh, yeah, we have all these videos of Kylie wearing the Odd Future shirt at the party. Well, really? If you want us to help find her, don't you want to show us at least a still shot from one of those videos of her wearing that hoodie? Like, I really don't think. I think that whatever happened did happen earlier, like Mr. Mark has been hammering away at lately. And a lot of us have brought that up over time and over the last couple of years and float that theory. And then we float some other theories. But, the type of resolve that Lindsay Rodney Neiman exhibits on August 9th, I think that's the date of the makeout video. The one I call the makeout video, where she's rubbing up on Scammy and like whispering in her ear, and it literally almost looks like she's sticking her tongue down her throat. I mean, it's like way too much physical contact, like PDA, the public display of affection. When this is the girl who's claiming she left your daughter drunk at a party with a bunch of scary guys, you're gonna like make out with her in front of people? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. No, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All of the things that these people said and did at these pressers is absolutely insane. Like, oh, yeah, we've got, 50 million tips and 50 FBI agents. We've got the Homeland Security and we've got all these hours. Oh, I thought of something. Ooh, if that whole search was a hoax, who should be held accountable for all those wasted resources? Would Scammy be held accountable? Would the family be held accountable if they knew that she was not going to be found, but yet they let all these search and rescue teams expend all of these hours looking? So what I started to say is that Lindsay seems to have so much resolve. That's the day, I believe, where she gets up and says, yeah, it's disappointing about the whole no Amber Alert thing, but just so long as we can fix that problem for the next kid that's missing and they can have an Amber Alert. And she's just like completely over her kid being missing, like water under the bridge on day 3. I don't think so. I do not think so. I mean, sure, a person can be in denial, the whole argument, there's no wrong way of grieving, but she's not grieving. She's just like on with the show. Well, system failed my kid, but let's just try to fix it for the next. And yeah, there's no reason for them to not have that Amber Alert. But what did they say? I wrote some of this crap down. They said that, but we're using resources that reach even further. I think that was Scott Alford from Placer County. We're using resources that reach even further. And yeah, I wrote down that he said this on August 9th. So that same day. There was no Amber Alert, but we're utilizing resources that reach even further. I'm sorry. There's something that reaches further than an Amber Alert? I don't think so. It's why it's an Amber Alert. It's why it's a thing. My goodness. So, yeah, Lindsay's way too relaxed. Maybe it was August 10th when they're doing the makeout thing, right? I might have had that wrong. August 9th, August 10th. Maybe the makeout thing was August 9th, but then August 10th is when she's saying the stuff about, oh, it's no biggie that they missed it with my kid, but we'll try to fix it for the next kid. So around August 9th, August 10th. Sorry if I have fuzzy dates with that, but, kind of one and the same almost. Let's see. Okay, they showed him having issues climbing stairs into Air Force One. He's having a ton of issues, Fred. He's having a ton of issues. Like he's medically compromised. Um, and that's not insulting anybody. That's just like we all have to take care of ourselves and we all have to be realistic. Nico says, I think it's because I tried to post that other video ever since then. Oh, interesting. Weird. But maybe that's your system. Maybe it's not being burglarized. Agree, lips are moving. He is lying. Right, just like Scammy. If her lips are moving, she's lying, just like NK, just like Chris Watts. They're all the same. All the same. And yeah, I really want to talk about Taylor Casey. I've been watching some really good videos. I just discovered a brand new channel to myself that's hitting home and doing a lot of digging on the history of the ashram or whatever the heck you call that place that she disappeared from. It's freaky. Absolutely freaky. Okay. I had to log out and back in video is visible again. Weird. Okay, cool. Yeah. It's hard to say. There's always technical glitches. Some of them are meaningless and others seems like there's rhyme and reason to it. Did law enforcement know? J.R. Nana Boomer, that's such a good question because there's times where Angela Masalam, that's how you say her name, Angela Masalam. There's times when she almost seems like she's sincerely concerned about trying to find Kylie and she's getting stonewalled by the community. But for the most part, law enforcement is just out there flapping their jaws and saying, oh, thank you so much to the community for letting us search. And thank you so much for the family for letting us be in touch with you and tell you what's going on in the search. And they're just like repeating themselves and saying silly things, wasting time that they could be out searching. So yeah, I think that they did know to answer that question. Did I highlight that one? Oh. And yeah, the whole cover up at the boat ramp. I mean, we weren't covering up when we were covering up. That whole Sam Brown thing and the red face. I haven't been able to watch all of Ninja's videos because she's just been pumping them out one after another, but I will watch all of them, and the ones that I catch are so good. They're so good. I highly recommend keeping up with her and keeping up with Mr. Mark and keeping up with Shan. I know Shan hasn't been making a lot of videos. She's been making a lot of vegetables, and that's awesome too. Eating healthy is like as important as justice, isn't it? It's right up there. U.S. government sent Truckee and they received millions for that search. Exactly. So if the search was a hoax, shouldn't that money be paid back? And shouldn't people be charged with like interfering with an investigation, obstruction of justice, lying to authorities, misuse of resources? I mean, because while they're doing this looking for Kylie, don't you think there's a bunch of other people that were missing that weren't getting the coverage? I mean, we know about the cover from Yuba, the couple from Yuba that, did I say cover up? No, I'm not covering anything up. Okay, so we know about the couple from Yuba that went missing the same day, allegedly, of the hot August nights, the ones that crashed their car into the lake. And really, it's going to take you thousands of volunteer hours and all this manpower to not be able to find a car in a lake, right? Basically, where you'd think it might be if that whole song and dance about the party was true. Give me a break. And the whole thing with the freaking fire cam, they would have gone to the fire cam on day one. That would have been first thing. First thing, you guys. First thing. I'm telling you, without a doubt. First thing. And then, some of those rich kids out there had Teslas that have dash cams. And then even if they didn't have Teslas, some of them would have dash cams. I mean, I have a dash cam on my car, which I'm so glad. I wish I had a long time ago. But Teslas, their dash cams work all the time, even if the car is not running, I believe. And there was Teslas out there. If not the kids at the fake party, then at least the beautiful Mexican family at the beautiful Mexican family party next door. The one that Zanime attended, allegedly. Zanime. God, these people are insane. Like SF, Zanime. Who else? I mean, skid mark, as Shan calls them. These people are so crazy. Squirrels, Shan is here. Law enforcement would have known the tie between the government and STI, Sam's parents. Oh, I like that you call it STI, Sierra Tahoe Investigates. Is Phoebe and her grant writing. It's no wonder she was sitting there with law enforcement. Oh, I don't even know who Phoebe is, Shan. But did you see? Yeah, you probably saw because I sent it to you. The link to the community post that I put up. So thank you so much, girl, for digging up the $33.48 billion decade contract of STI with our federal government. What, it's with the Department of Commerce and Human Resources and ICE? Sounds like some trafficking to me. That's like crazy big money. Crazy big money. And yeah, you hit a gold mine there, Shan. I'm sure you'll be getting super busy on that. You probably have been super busy on that when you're not out there in the garden. Let's see. Annie Ruler, Squirrels on Fire grant writers get 10% of the value. Do they? Because I know how to write grants. I didn't know I was supposed to get 10%. Better get writing, huh? My point exactly, Nico Mingo. Squirrels said, thank you for that. See, because I've only written grants for nonprofits where I didn't take any payment. Thank you for that knowledge, Annie. I'll keep it in my research. Yeah, 10% of 33 billion. That'd be a nice paycheck, wouldn't it? What is that? Like 33 gazillion? Is that 10% of 33 billion? Holy moly. That would be like 330 million, I think, right? 10%, I'm pretty sure. Man. Oh, man. Laugh or cry, right? J.R. Nana says, I'm a fan of Sammy, Sam, Angela, and the entire production was great. They're such incredible actors. I thought they were really doing police work in the background. Oh, that's cute. I love that comment, J.R. Nana. It's a good one. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Idiots. Absolute idiots. The looks on their faces and the crazy things that they said. It's just unbelievable watching those videos today, 2 years later, knowing what we know. It's just brilliant to be rehashing them at this point. And yeah, it seems 100% obvious to me that there was a lot of foul play, abuse of power, lying. I mean, the whole thing was just a facade. The whole freaking thing. I started talking about the other people that were missing in the area, like the woman, the other young woman that was Hispanic, that weird sheriff found. And this wasn't in the area. I think it's like 300 miles away, down in like Modesto. That sheriff found her at midnight when he was off duty out at the lake. Remind me of her name, you guys. That was creepy AF. But I mean, it's California. There's going to be all kinds of people missing that we're not hearing about. And everybody's just focused on this one person. You're not going to have that much manpower on one person. I mean, was there that much manpower in any other case? Like even in the Natalie Holloway, when her parents were loaded, and that was kind of a political thing in Aruba with, twathead Joran Vandersloot's wicked dad who had his karma unalive him about a year later on the tennis court, right? I mean, just all of that, all of that. And really there's still no answers in the Natalie Holloway case, which this whole thing with Taylor Casey really touches on that raw nerve. So sad. I remember when Dr. Phil went down there and was convinced that she was being trafficked at a flop house, right? And my guess is that there was some truth to that was going on at least for a short period. And I hate, I despise to suggest it, but I think it's naive to rule out the possibility of that not happening in Kylie's case. I think that's ridiculous. And that's something that's never mentioned by the authorities. And why wouldn't the authorities mention it as something to rule out? I mean, it's common logic. Give me a break. Poor old fella just got over a cold and jet lag. I truly hope it isn't a bad case. He had it already in the past year. Yeah, and when I had COVID 2 years ago, I had COVID right before Kylie went missing. When we went on our family trip up to the upper part of Michigan, to the northern peninsula, the upper peninsula, the UP as they call it. I almost didn't go on this family trip because I had COVID, and I had just taken the COVID test like a couple hours before we left, and I was feeling horrible. Everybody else in the family had already had it. So, I just didn't want to go because I felt crappy, but it was a really mild case, and I did go, and it resolved pretty quickly. And that was a light case. I mean, like I said, everybody in my family has had it, in my immediate family. I think most of them have had it twice. And my one kid had long COVID for a couple of years, maybe. I mean, it was really bad. So it's bad at any age. And yeah, even having a light case of it was awful. It just sucked. Squirrels on Fire, my daughter, not ambitious and learned too much. They shove you out their scams. You can't. Quality after deadline. Shucks, I misunderstood. She scooped 35 million. Bad provider. What? My fault, JR and Anna Boomer. LOL. Phoebe, the mental health lady. Oh, we got to talk about there's a lot more coming out with Sherry Papini, because they just released, I think it's like a triple series called The Perfect Wife. I started to watch it, but I haven't even gotten through the first episode of it yet. But the Sherry Papini case, the 34-year-old woman who faked her own kidnapping back in 2016, and then she only got convicted like 2 years ago, I think in 2022. And remember, she hired the PR person that Kylie Rodney's mother hired. Why would you hire a PR person, first off, when your kid is missing? And why would you hire a PR person who had just handled a very high profile case? And then come to think of it, 2022 was when Papini was getting prosecuted. So that's even crazier, because Kylie went missing in 2022. So it was on that trip up to the Upper Peninsula. At the end of that trip was when Kylie went missing. We'd been camping for like a week, and then I was peeking on my YouTube and found out that there was this missing kid when we were still on our campground. And I was like, weird. And then the whole case intrigued me so much for so many reasons, but especially because we were camping, and there was all that talk about them camping. And yeah, we were like on Lake Superior. We were like right on the water. And yeah, no one's going to be driving into the freaking water, whether you're drunk or not drunk. Like, that's stupid. STI is also sexually transmitted infection. What's growing? Sandra asked Shan. Man, your cucumber salad that you did the video on, that looked so good. I love cucumbers. Lady in Lake Tahoe worked it, moved to Bend, Oregon, scamming there. And yeah, I've been to Bend too. That's a beautiful area. Absolutely. Squirrels on fire, Sandra, acorn squash, pumpkins, watermelon are taken off. Oh, do you have any to eat yet? That's exciting. I get a break from the garden today. We've gotten rain after a 3-week drought. Wow. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain the last couple of days too, Shan. A lot of rain. Yes, millions are not 10% of billions. Wait, what? Yeah. Because like a billion is 1,000 million, isn't it? I think. So then, like, 10% of 1 billion would be 100 million. I think. I don't know. Pull out the Google and ask it. I ain't no Google. I'm still trying to research why STI would be doing INVPI work, why Sarah Tahoe Investigates would be doing INVPI work for mining and reclamation as well. There's a lot of information to learn and understand. Well, wouldn't it be for the mining for a heart of gold? No, I mean, it used to be that people mined for gold up there in Auburn and the Sierra Nevadas, lithium, right? That's the new gold, I think. I mean, water is gold up there too. So, yeah, a lot of information to learn and understand. I know, Shan, you like hit a gold mine of it for sure. Sorry I'm late. I had to feed my mom. Oh, Mary Thomas, that's so cute. I hope she ate well. That's super sweet. 10% of 33 billion. Oh, thank you, Nico. I can't do math. Like I said, fuzzy math. Wow. Seriously? I think you're correct. That's just, my mind just can't even wrap around so many zeros. Really good point, Nico. I appreciate you so much pointing that out. So if I wrote a $33 billion grant, I mean, I don't know that these were grants. These are contracts, government contracts. So, but yeah, thanks for the info. That's awesome. Can you imagine? It's just 10%. I wouldn't doubt if they wiped the information around Kylie, Trinity, and Dante isn't thanks to Blackrock. I said it. Oh my goodness, Shan, we can't talk about politics. And you're not, but I was going to just mention the new thing about the shooter dude being in that Blackrock commercial. You guys have all seen this, right? The 20-year-old kid that was up on the roof near you, Shan, in your neck of the woods. I wondered if you were there. And he was in a Blackrock commercial like a year ago. And they've wiped the Blackrock commercial, but there's already a bunch of people that snagged it. You probably snagged it. And then they've been making their videos about it. Too freaking bizarre. I feel like Natalie was offed quick. Kylie, I feel, was in that area. Salagi said, sounded like Florida was just apartment name. Jaeger in Reno, in my opinion. Jamaica. Jamaica is the name of those apartments, I think, that you're referring to, Annie. And not Jamaica Plains. Like, that's in... Jamaica Plains is in Boston, but Jamaica something. And yeah, I feel like Natalie was assaulted by all three of those guys, and that's why Uran made his stupid little confession a year ago to try to get those other two Calpo brothers off the hook. Disgusting freaks. But I think that it might have been more than the three of them, and that yeah, it's heinous, absolutely heinous. And obviously, Yoron's dad knew a lot and was protecting him, and that didn't work out so well for him. He got his comeuppance. Um, oh man, what a nightmare! So sad. And then with Kylie, honestly, Annie, at this point, especially with what Shannon was discovering with the 33 billion, I'm thinking the trafficking more than ever. And I'm thinking more than ever that she might still be out there. And I know that that's not a popular opinion. And I don't always have that opinion. But right now, today, I'm having that opinion. Um, let's see. Oh, yeah. Kylie, I feel, was in that area. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think she was getting that kind of treatment for a while prior to August 6th, after August 6th, and like I said, maybe even still. Like I do hope against hope that she's still living, but it's highly unlikely, I know. But I don't think that that was her. I don't think that the little tiny person with the 1,000-gram brain was her. I don't know that that was anybody with exactly 1,000-gram brain and exactly round numbers on every organ. Like, that was crazy. That was so crazy. Um, and then the no ID and the no DNA and the no dental records. I mean, come on. That was just stupid. And then the car. I don't really think that that's her car either. I think that's just a car that looks like her car. But they put the plate on it, so yep, it's her car. Sandra says, Shan, I know that rain was a blessing. I have managed to unalive all my different um, types of peppers and flowers and only have a couple of cantaloupe and about 6 or 7 spaghetti squash. Well, you're ahead of me, Sandra. I've not been doing the gardening this year the way I have been the last few years. Sherry Papini was under my district attorney. Oh, Annie Ruler. Wow. Yeah, what a piece of trash she is and was. What she put her kids through, what she put her ex-husband through, what she put the entire area through. Like, they have the Smith family has a missing child from like a decade or more prior to her fake abduction. It put the Smith family through the ringer. I mean, she put her sister through the ringer. She put everybody through the ringer. Like, she's an awful, awful person. Like, twisted AF. She should hook up with Alec Baldwin, man. They'd make a perfect couple, wouldn't they? Was that uncool that I said that? I'm so sorry. I feel just terrible. No, not sorry. I don't freaking care. These people suck, man. These people that are just so selfish and they just can't see past the nose on their face. It's just all about them and no one else. Hilaria. Ugh. Ugh. I caught your Smith business video, Shan. Billions from government for surveillance. Big brother. Smiths are probably listening to everyone's phone calls. Maybe that's why nobody's talking. Yeah, remember MC Ultra even shared with us that she knows people that can send anybody like a little code on their phone to blow it up, get it blowed up. Speaking of Blackrock, the shooter was supposedly in a commercial for them. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. Here we are. I'm like 8 minutes behind. Yeah, I saw the commercial. I'll put a link to it in the description from somebody's video that had already downloaded it before Blackrock deleted it, scrubbed it. They bill for one. Oh, and they say they scrubbed it out of respect for the victims, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. It's out of respect for the almighty dollar. We all know that. Come on. No, we're not that stupid. J.R. Nana Boomer says they bill for one thing but are doing surveillance on another. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's a lot of effery. And I'm sure smart cities have something to do with it, right? 5 years ago was the commercial. Thank you, Nico. 5 years ago. Yeah, I said one. Yeah, I only just learned about it, just like right before coming on. Yeah, Butler is super close to me. And that financial video on teachers via Blackrock was recorded in Bethel Park in 2022. Okay, so 2 years ago. And yeah, so Blackrock manages the pensions for like half of the teachers nationwide and a lot of law enforcement too. I didn't know this until today. Like I know about Blackrock some, but obviously not a lot. Vandersloot's dad probably part of assault. Oh yeah, Nico. I would believe it. And yeah, I mean, she might have passed away that night, but she might have lasted a long time. I mean, and for all we know, she's not passed, but I bet she is passed. And I do think it's quite possible she passed that night. It could be that she passed the next day. I tend to believe that stupid story that Vandersloot told the guy in the car, the journalist who had the hidden video camera in his SUV and was smoking pot with Yoran. And Yoran said that she had like an epileptic seizure, which I would believe because I'm sure that she was roofied. And she was also drinking a lot, which she was of legal age to drink in Aruba, 18. And she was sunburned. She'd been out in the hot sun all day. And she probably had forgotten to eat because having all that fun and it being the last day of vacation. So, yeah, she well could have had an epileptic seizure and passed. And especially if she was being traumatized by being assaulted by multiple people. It's so disgusting. So disgusting. I mean, your body would just freak out and die. I mean, it's really like a incomplete murder if it doesn't result in an unaliving. It's like an unaliving of the soul. I mean, it's just so gross. Yeah, J.R. Nana, the Smiths have more than just oh, do they? Then the Sierra Tahoe investigates. They do government things for just saying, wow. So yeah, so Scammy really is like the princess heir. And she was so threatened by Kylie having just being an amazing person and having such talent. Like she didn't have the billions of dollars behind her. I mean, her granddad is loaded, but Scammy just could not stand somebody taking the spotlight from her, from precious Scammy. And the whole thing with that fight. So the law enforcement says they have all these videos of the fight. Like, show that. Like, wrap the case up. It's been 2 years. Quit protecting the billionaire heiress. Come on. Come on. Who else are they protecting? Who else are they protecting? Like, really gross. Okay. Let me keep up with your comments and then try to make sure that I've covered all my notes. So let's see, what time are we at? Oh my goodness, we're already over an hour. It's hard when I'm trying to cover 4 cases all at once. And I just love you guys so much. I did a 2-hour video the day before yesterday, and that was so nice after missing the weekend. And then, so it wasn't quite as painful to miss yesterday since I did 120 minutes with my peeps the day before yesterday. But I do love having these conversations, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, don't forget to hit the creepy like button, the dismembered hand, all right? Let's see. What else? They had no serial number for ARM hardware life insurance scam, in my opinion. Yeah, I know. That's crazy with that ARM hardware from when she had the plate put in her arm. Shan and Blackrock has removed the video since, but I bet some creator has saved it. Yeah, a few creators have saved it, Sandra, and I'll put a link to the one that I saw in the description after we're done here. And the shooter was in an ad for Blackrock, according to my Hollywood bonus son. Yeah. In Tennessee, I know it's weird, isn't it? I mean, coincidence? In Tennessee, news is reporting on conspiracy theory cops illegally going after politicians for child highway. PD don't trust state police. Are cops really the bad guys, as news portrays? And J.R. Nana, you remind me in the Sherry Papini case. So she said that her kidnappers were Latin American, Hispanic. So she was like feeding into all the prejudice that was already rampant in the area that she was from. Was it Redding? Is that where she was from? Somewhere around where Annie said, like Lake Shasta. And then she said that the two Hispanic women that kidnapped her were going to sell her, and that they were going to sell her to a cop. So she was never going to be found. So she's also trashing law enforcement with this elaborate hoax of hers. So she got prosecuted for her elaborate hoax. Who's going to get prosecuted for the elaborate hoax of find Kylie? We lost our friend. Can you help us find her? Like, seriously, that was an elaborate hoax, just like Papini's. Just like it. And then for Kylie's mom to hire Papini's PR person, these people, they're telling on themselves. They just can't not tell on themselves. In Tennessee, news is reporting on conspiracy theory cops illegally. Okay, I just read this one, but I'm going to read it again. Going after politicians for child highway. PD don't trust state police. Are cops really the bad guys, as news portrays? Well, see, and that's the problem, is it just takes one bad apple to ruin the whole batch, right? What's your next comment here? Comments on the news report. Many question if they are being targeted for actually going after bad people. Nico says protecting other billionaires in that region too, such as Hamburglar. Well, and the Z-Man, the man who invented FaceWall, or I like to come up with all those crazy names for it. FaceWall, My Book, the guy who's worth almost 200 billion. Who lives in the area, who also happens to own a bunch of Maui with that other billionaire. And he's got that whole massive bunker on Maui. Yeah. Oh, did I highlight that one? Yeah. So all the billionaires in the area. Shan, that's what I was seeing you show. It said they were being paid for thought it was surveillance, but I might have turned investigations to surveillance in my head, but it would make sense. Book of Face, Nico, thank you. I love that. That's the best. I'm going to have to remember that one. Book of Face. That is too cute. All right. So let's see. The Department of Commerce, Human Resources, and ICE are primarily who Sarah Tahoe investigates, has their 10-year, $33.48 billion contracts with the government. Okay, so let's go back to the Alec Baldwin trial. He fell asleep all 3 days, you guys. I was taking screenshots of him on my phone falling asleep on day one, And I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm thinking, it just looks like he's falling asleep. All right. So day 2, he definitely fell asleep. Like he like almost fell over a couple of times. Day 3, he was falling asleep. Day 2, he busted out of there when the attorney Morrissey was, you know, disclosing things about him that he didn't want her to be saying out loud. In my opinion, he just abruptly stormed out of the courtroom and then came back with a cup of coffee. And then, which you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to abruptly storm out of the courtroom. You have to wait till there's a recess. And if you're having explosive problems at the rear end, then you could like tell that to your attorney as you run, and then your attorney could relay that information to the judge appropriately. But no, you don't bolt out of the courtroom, period. So Alec did that, and he should have been sternly warned at the very least, but he did it again on day 3. So all 3 days he fell asleep, and day 2 and day 3 he abruptly left rudely, and that's in contempt of court. And yet the judge still ruled wildly, massively in his favor to protect him, in my opinion. Oh, it's just horrible. But why? My question that I wrote down here is, why did mainstream media? I've never heard mainstream media even mention him falling asleep. Like, all the mainstream media just keeps trying to make it look like everything that the judge said and did is like truth and accurate and, legit and justice. And no, it was none of those things. It was not truth. It was not accurate. It was not legit. And it was not justice. I mean, we could argue till we're blue in the face. I think a lot of people agree with me, not just people in my chat, but I think a lot of the general public knows this too. What I didn't know, so I had learned last weekend, I think, or over the weekend, so I shared it with you guys on Monday, that this guy, that Alec Baldwin thinks he's this guy because he played Stanley. So I found out that was in 1992, and he was nominated for a Tony, but he did not win. But he's gotten a lot of awards for other, I think he did get a Tony for something else on Broadway eventually. And I know he's gotten a lot of like Emmys, and I don't think he's gotten Oscars, but he's an A-lister. We know this. But what was I saying about, being the A-lister? What I found out yesterday is that they're doing a second Beetlejuice movie. So of course he's going to be in it, which, he should be in jail. So they could have like one of his brothers play him or something. So his brother that was sitting behind him, Steven, who was the one, I looked it up. He played Barney Rubble in one of the Flintstone movies. So you guys know his daughter is Hailey Bieber, that's married to Justin Bieber. And then we know, I think that's his youngest brother. And then his other brother is married to China Phillips. That's William Baldwin. And then there's the more obscure brother. I want to say his name might be Tony, but I'm kind of taking a stab in the dark. It's not Tony. The other Baldwin, the one that we never hear about, who has 6 kids. So those are the 4 Baldwin brothers. Alex, the oldest. He's got one sister that's older that was there at the courthouse. And then he's got one sister that's younger. So there's 6 of those Baldwin kids. And then the whole thing with him pretending that he doesn't know gun safety, when not only was his father a freaking rifle shooting coach at a high school for 28 years solid, he was also a sharpshooter for the Marines before he took the job as a high school history teacher. A sharpshooter for the Marines, and his dad's a coach for 28 years for rifle shooting, and Alec pretends that he don't know guns. Give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, it makes sense why he was so anti-gun, since his father probably passed away from all the like lead that he inhaled from all those years of coaching. But who knows? I mean, people get exposed to a lot of toxic stuff in the military too. So could be both. Could be a combination. Um, where are we at? Book of Face. That is just the best, Nico. That is so cute. Book of Face. They rugged him, in my opinion, AB, so he would not have an outburst. Annie Ruler, I've been saying that all week. Thank you for saying that, because I would have forgotten to mention it. Yeah, they definitely, like, that's probably one of the reasons why he was falling asleep. Because, yeah, he's such a hothead. He would not have been able to sit there quietly. I mean, obviously, that is why he stormed out of there twice. Yeah, they probably had him like on Ativan or something like that. Valium, Clonopin, something. Um, Ads, I'm here. Nice to see you, Mr. Mark. I agree, Annie. Nico says. Sherry says, hey there, Mark. TV is run by Hollywood. I like the way Shan calls it Hollyweird. Yeah. Stella! See, I didn't know that he played Stanley until I read about that over the weekend. And when I read that, I was just like, oh, that makes sense. He thinks he's freaking Brando. And no, nobody's Brando except Brando. That's the whole problem. Like, Hollywood's been on the hunt for another Brando ever since this guy. And they'll never find another one like him. I mean, they've gotten a few, I think Benicio del Toro has a little bit of that Brando in him. I do. To be completely transparent, I think Brad Pitt has a smidge of it, but yeah, I'd say Benicio is the closest that I've seen. Harry Connick Jr. almost. There's a couple that really have that kind of bravado, but the swagger. I mean, James Dean tried to have it, but he was too mainstream. Brando, there's never been another Brando, and probably never will be, right? Sorry, Alec. Good try. Next. Mr. Mark, my bonus kid has seen too much, and Fredfield says, good night, everyone. I have to let Dexter out and start getting ready for bed. 1:45 a.m. work alarm comes too early. LOL. Wow, that is crazy to get up at 2. I know my hubby works the night shift. I feel your pain, Fred. And yeah, you just got to make sure you get your sleep. Oh, Daniel. Thank you, Nico. Yeah, I knew it wasn't Tony. That's kind of my go-to name, Tony. It's a Kids in the Hall skit. If you guys don't know about Tony, I'll tell you about Tony. What is that skit? Oh, what are you thinking about? I'm just thinking about Tony. Is he thinking about me? Tony. Oh my goodness, that's one of the best Kids in the Halls too. Anyway, thank you, Nico. Daniel is the brother that has the 6 kids. Stephen is the one who's Justin Bieber's uncle, making all of the Baldwins Justin Bieber's uncle, because Justin Bieber's married to their niece. So, that catapults them above that whole 70 million that Alec is worth, because Bieber's worth close to 300 million. So, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's how these agencies work is, whoever's got the deepest pockets has the most power and is the one that gets catered to and is the one who runs the show. So good night, Fred. Thank you so much for coming, and thanks for saying good night. I hope that you get some good rest. News is on TV. Go figure. Yep, Mr. Mark. Charles Bronson. Oh, Mr. Mark. Yeah, Charles Bronson was pretty good. Telly Savalas. I mean, you could even say like Travolta has a little bit of Brando in him, but just a smidge. But yeah, he certainly had a good career, hasn't he? You gotta love Vinnie Barbardino. Come on. I love Kids in the Hall too, Nico says. I know there's a lot of you guys that know about the Kids in the Hall. Anybody who doesn't know the Kids in the Hall, you're missing out. It's the same producer, Lorne Michaels, that does SNL, but it was like the small comedy troupe from Canada, and they're funny AF. They're just so good. One or two of them have been on SNL, but they've all gone to do really good work. They did really good work as a comedy troupe, and they've done really good work on their own afterwards. Catching me on Dinky in my opinion about jury experience in a few minutes. Okay, catch me on Dinky in my opinion about jury experience in a few minutes. I'm not sure. Like, do we find you on a thing called Dinky? In my opinion, is that like on TikTok or something? I'm so confused, Annie. That's nuts. Mr. Mark says to Fred Field, and that about having to wake up at 1:45. It's just rough on your system, but as long as you're getting your sleep, you'll be okay. It's when you're not getting your sleep. But Fred, it's funny that you have a dog named Dexter since you watch true crime. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention about Sherry Papini is that she watched true crime, and it just made me really concerned about all of us. So like, are we all going to be crazy like her? Not really, but I just had to throw that in there. Okay, so what else do I have written down here? The fact that these news channels have been calling it a Perry Mason moment at the Baldwin trial is ridiculous. It's ludicrous because first of all, in real life, you're never going to have a Perry Mason moment ever. But yeah, the judge did try to make it look like that, didn't she? She definitely did. So what I think is this guy, the Good Samaritan, Troy, is his last name Teskey or something like that? The friend of Thal Reed's. I think that he put on a hoax with his whole dropping off a random box of ammo to law enforcement. I believe it was on the day of Hannah's conviction, like the last day of her trial when the jury was making their verdict. I think that that's the day he dropped off the box at law enforcement. Am I right? But I think that it was a hoax. And I think that the police determining from how it all played out and that he didn't follow through and what was in the box, them determining that it was a hoax or hokey or not of merit. When something doesn't have merit, it doesn't have merit and you don't include it. And like I had shared with you guys the day before yesterday, that my other half said that had they just mentioned it in the Helena Hutchins file and put the file number that evidence was under, the whole thing would have been a moot point. And it's too bad that they didn't do that. And you do got to wonder if, that probably wasn't an oversight. That was probably typical police department effery, but still, even at worst, I still think that at worst, the case should have been dismissed without prejudice so that they could refile. So speaking of refiling charges, is anything ever going to happen with Suzanne Morphew, or is Salida in the pocket of BM? And no, I'm not saying bowel movement. I mean, I am, but that whole case. What else? Mark says, I'm crazy. YouTube channel name is Dinky, in my opinion. Going live soon. Oh, thank you, Annie. Let's put a link to that if we can, mods. if you're able and willing, that would be much appreciated. So do you remember when Alec Baldwin's attorney said he goes bang bang in movies? I think that was in the opening statements. He goes bang bang in movies. That was like right up there with the he's in another place in the land of make believe, 100 years away. He can't be thinking about no bullets. Like, yeah, you're not helping your client, douche. Okay, but oh, that line was the best. I'm glad I wanted to reiterate this one. Guns have been in movies and theater since before Alec was even born. That was part of the opening statements, you guys. Like, this whole thing was a freaking joke. And then for them to basically won is hideous. It's absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Okay. So the last thing I want to say before I wrap up, because we are at 90 minutes, and if you guys want to say anything, please do. And yeah, if anybody can get Annie Ruler's YouTube channel, the Dinky, in my opinion, link, that would be great. Otherwise, we can just try to find it as we wrap up here. Let's see. And I'll try to put it in my description if I find it. So just to remember, I think it's really important in the Micah Miller case that attorney, whose last name is Long, who is Sprinkler Boy's attorney and one of JP's attorneys, that his daddy was a judge in the 70s or 80s in Myrtle Beach. And remember, his brother was busted for being a perv and showing the full Monty in front of a sliding glass door to a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old. But then the freaking South Carolina courts are so hideous, they call the 12-year-old a woman. They say two women, a 12-year-old and an 18-year-old. That's not two women. That's a kid and a young woman. Freaks. But yeah, that South Carolina is so gnarly with the sexism and the racism, and I was afraid that was going to be a huge element of this whole thing. And yeah, the good old boys, the white boys. All right, on that, peace out, you guys. Have a lovely evening. It is 7:32. Annie will try to catch you over at Dinky, in my opinion. And check, oh, Granny is traveling again. Granny Annie, I'm karaoke before they copyright me. Orange top, I go low, so my back up singers show. Very cool, Annie. I'm excited to check it all out. So sending you love and light, you guys. Take really good care of yourselves. Have a delightful evening. Get yourself some rest, some nourishment, some exercise, fresh air, and just keep on keeping on. Just be yourself, just be honest, and justice will happen. We just have to be patient, right? Don't give up the fight. Fight the good fight, right? All right. See you soon. Thanks so much.